آزادی بیان
言论自由
free speech.
Do you see the internet as a sort of democratizing power then?
Well, that also is a good starting point. Yes, the internet definitely has a liberating effect, which is one of the many effects it has.
Yeah.
So as a platform where people can exchange in communication, where they can exchange ideas, they can learn about the world and opinions of other people, of course, it is liberating to that extent, but that's not the only effect, right? You can also think of many cases in which it has boosted, as I've said, the powers of governments to spy on their citizens, to spread propaganda, to engage in cyber attacks, cyber harassment, intimidation. I mean, the list is very long. So while it's important for us to work towards maximizing the liberating potential of the internet and maybe better understanding it as well, it's also important that we not lose sight of those other ways in which it can be used by more nefarious players to advance an agenda that is far from democratic. So part of my project in the last few years has been trying to bring more awareness about this darker side, so that when we shape the policy towards the internet, but also when we shape global policy towards things like democracy promotion, that we're actually well aware of the fact that it's not just maximizing the liberating potential, it's not just about building websites, it's not just about training bloggers, it's not just about facilitating exchange of ideas, it's also about much more complex, challenging, complicated, unpleasant, and dangerous activities like building anti-censorship tools, building anti-surveillance tools, forcing companies to behave more responsibly. And those tasks, so far in the West at least, have received far less attention. And that happened precisely because it's much easier for policymakers, for ministers of foreign affairs, for the staffers, to go on singing praise to blogs and social networks, and thus show themselves to be modern and up sort of on latest technologies, as opposed to going and trying to regulate the companies, or making the very uncomfortable and unpleasant message, delivering that message to their colleagues in law enforcement and telling them, if we really want to preserve the internet as a liberating space, we need to curtail our own surveillance activities on social networks, or just looking at the traffic. All of that needs to happen, and that hasn't happened so far. And my fear is that this fascination with the liberatory potential will be used just as an excuse not to talk about more uncomfortable subjects.